An investigation run by Mr. Weiss that not only had a sweetheart deal rejected, but according to the New York Times, there was an even sweeter deal, an earlier deal, a deal in which Mr. Biden would not have to plead guilty to anything. 4.5 years and all that, and now we get a special counsel. And who does the Attorney General pick? David Weiss. He picks the one guy he knows will protect Joe Biden.
Attorney General Merrick Garland grilled on Capitol Hill today. This is his first testimony before Congress since Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal crashed and burned. And it's also the first time in 2 years that the Attorney General appeared before the House Judiciary Committee. The Capitol Hill smackdown comes as the Justice Department oversees 2 unprecedented cases against former President Donald Trump and another against the sitting president's son, Hunter Biden. Attorney General Garland took on accusations that his department is weaponized under President Biden.
Our job is to pursue justice without fear or favor. Our job is not to do what is politically convenient. Our job is not to take orders from the president, from Congress, or from anyone else about who or what to criminally investigate. The Justice Department works for the American people.
House Republicans, however, questioning why the Hunter Biden investigation took so many years for simple charges.
Why, let me ask you, why has the Justice Department dragged this investigation out for so long? Does it really take years to determine if Hunter Biden lied on a federal form related to purchasing a firearm?
Mr. Weiss was a long-time career prosecutor. President Trump appointed him as the—
You're not answering the question. Is that standard procedure? Should it take that long to make such a simple determination?
He was charged with that investigation under the previous administration. He's continued. He knows how to conduct investigations.
You let the statute of limitations lapse for 2014, 2015. Those were the years with the felony tax charges where Hunter Biden was getting income from Burisma.
There's one more fact that's important, and that is that this investigation was being conducted by Mr. Weiss, an appointee of President Trump.
Well, yes, Weiss was a Delaware U.S. attorney appointee of President Trump, but at the customary recommendation of 2 Delaware senators who happen to be Democrat. That's how it's done. That's how U.S. attorneys get appointed. Republicans are also questioning Garland about his appointment of U.S. Attorney David Weiss as special counsel and whether or not Weiss knew that he had charging authority and whether or not Garland interfered in that investigation.
An investigation run by Mr. Weiss, where they told the Congress 3 different stories in 33 days. They told this committee on June 7th, David Weiss said, I have ultimate authority to determine when, where, and whether to bring charges. 23 days later, June 30th, he told this committee, actually, I can only bring charges in my U.S. Attorney's District.
A senior IRS investigator, whistleblower, came forward and testified publicly that Mr. Weiss stated that he did not have such authority. He was not the decider. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of the testimony. I was not present at any point during that statement. And Mr. Weiss, who was present, has indicated that he had the authority and he knew that he had it.
Have you had personal contact with anyone at FBI headquarters about the Hunter Biden investigation?
I don't recollect the answer to that question, but the FBI works for the Justice Department. It's
I'm sorry. You don't recollect whether you've talked with anybody at FBI headquarters about an investigation of the president's son?
I don't believe that I did.
Under oath today, your testimony is you have not had any discussions with Mr. Weiss about this matter?
Under oath, my testimony today is that I promised the Senate I would not intrude in his investigation. I do not intend to discuss internal Justice Department deliberations, whether or not I had them.
Oh, okay. So your testimony today is you're not going to tell us whether you've had discussions with Mr. Weiss.
My testimony today is I told the committee that I would not interfere.
And then, of course, things got interesting, to put it gently. Fireworks went off between Congressman Matt Gaetz and the Attorney General Merrick Garland.
I guess I'm just wondering, Mr. Attorney General, has anyone at the department told President Biden to knock it off with Hunter? I mean, you guys are charging Hunter Biden on some crimes, investigating him on others. You've got the president bringing Hunter Biden around to state dinners. Has anyone told him to knock it off?
Our job in the Justice Department is to pursue our cases without reference to what's happening in the outside world.
Just yes or no. Have you done that?
That is what we do.
So it's a no?
No one that I know of has spoken to the White House about the Hunter Biden case.
I'm wondering then.
Of course not.
Okay, I got it. So Hunter Biden is selling art to pay for his $15,000 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that the people buying that art aren't doing so to gain favor with the president?
The job of the Justice Department is to investigate criminal allegations. You have information.
Are you investigating this? I mean, someone who bought Hunter Biden's art ended up with a prestigious appointment to a federal position. Doesn't it look weird that he's become this immediate success in the art world as his dad is president of the United States? Isn't that odd?
I'm not going to comment about any specific.
Not going to comment, not going to investigate. Hunter Biden associate Devin Archer told us that Hunter sold the appearance of access to then Vice President Biden. Are you confident he has stopped?
I'm going to say again that all these matters are within the purview of Mr. Weiss.
Are you aware of the millions of dollars that moved through Rob Walker's shell companies from Chinese Communist Party entities into Biden family bank accounts? Are you aware of that?
There were a lot of questions that you just asked.
Do you know about the money that moved through Rob Walker's shell companies, yes or no?
As I have said repeatedly, I have left these matters to Mr. Weiss.
Former federal prosecutor, former assistant district attorney in Cobb County, Georgia, Francey Hakes, and former assistant United States attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, Jonathan Fahey, joins me. Francey, let me go first to you. I'm actually quite surprised at the attorney general because, I mean, I don't know why he appointed David Weiss to be the special prosecutor. I've said it so many times I sound like a broken record, but David Weiss first wanted last October just to say no charges for Hunter Biden. Then in the spring, when the whistleblowers came forward and he got caught with his pants down for basically not doing something, he offers him a sweetheart plea deal. And then in July, when the sweetheart plea deal falls apart because the judge smells something fishy a little bit, about it was just too sweet, he then goes to the attorney general and says, appoint me special prosecutor. And Merrick Garland says today, well, that's why I appointed him, because he asked. Not, I mean, he's like, why do we even have, I mean, doesn't he think? Doesn't he look at this thing? Maybe this guy's not the right guy?
Well, I guess I should ask, because maybe I would get an appointment then to investigate Biden, because I can promise you I would do a better, more thorough and neutral job of investigating the Biden family than David Weiss is doing. I mean, just his previous conduct. The fact, one of the congressmen made the point, the fact that this case has taken years to bring 3 gun charges based on the exact same conduct on the exact same day is ridiculous. I prosecuted gun cases right here in the Northern District of Georgia, about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now. And I can promise you that the ATF gets those forms, decides whether someone is lying and buying, as we call it, and we bring a prosecution. The whole entire case, the investigation takes about a few days, maybe a couple of weeks if they need to talk to a couple of witnesses. It certainly doesn't take 4.5 years, and the attorney general had no answer for that.
And Jonathan, he also didn't, he wouldn't answer. He said it was basically David Weiss's issues. The fact that David Weiss got the investigation of Hunter Biden, I think in 2018, when the statute of limitations went back 6 years earlier to 2012, which would have included some questions about his 2014 foreign income. But then David Weiss sits on it until basically this summer, and so it runs out the statute, so he can't even look at that. And then the attorney general says, well, he asked me to be special prosecutor, and so I made him special prosecutor, and he was appointed by Trump. And he ignores the fact that he was appointed by Trump because 2 Democratic senators said that, you know, we would like this guy.
I am so glad you've brought that up, because this thing that he's been appointed by Trump is deliberately designed to mislead people into Trump selected him as opposed to 2 Democratic senators from Delaware. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I haven't seen that. But you're right. Why would you appoint somebody that has clearly botched this investigation, clearly not been, I mean, it's been the most timid prosecution that I've ever heard of. When you look at that plea deal, look at everything else, the easiest thing for Merrick Garland would be is like, well, you know, this guy's not up for the job for whatever reason. Let's put it in the hands of somebody that's going to do a good job, a thorough job, and an efficient job. He certainly got somebody that could do that with President Trump. I mean, my gosh, that's the most aggressive prosecution I've heard of. They're putting lawyers in the grand jury there, and in the Biden case, they can't even bother to interview people or do anything.
Well, sort of equal opportunity, Francey, is that how the Democrats keep saying this is a Trump appointee. I will say this. Matt Gaetz says that the guy or the woman who bought the artwork got a prestigious appointment. I think that it was a volunteer job that the person got, and there are like thousands of them in D.C. So that's even the Republicans doing a little bit sort of the same thing. But your thoughts on the whole artwork situation?
Well, the artwork is an interesting question because any normal attorney general should be at minimum curious about the fact that one of the sitting president's children is selling artwork and the donors or the buyers are anonymous, and then someone associated with that might have gotten some kind of a position. I mean, that at least at minimum is potential corruption. It might not be, but it is potentially so. And what's the most maddening about the Attorney General and all of his answers before Congress is that he seems to me to be the most incurious Attorney General or Chief Law Enforcement Officer in this country that I've ever seen.
It's not even a question of phoning it in. It doesn't even seem like he's there considering any of it. Francey, Hakes, Jonathan Fahey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greta.